It is time for the Anaglyph Jukebox. Hi, Joe. What do you have for us this week?
Well, Johnny Laser, there's just a few fictional characters that are known globally in all languages and cultures. Tarzan, Superman, Mickey Mouse, Robin Hood, Harry Potter, Godzilla, and King Kong. You're going to have to work a little harder to imagine the thrills and horror that King Kong brought to a cinema audience originally back in 1933. Remember that for its time, these special effects were state of the art. And as a matter of fact, some scenes from the original were even censored when the movie was re released theatrically in 1938. Like when Kong takes off some of Fay Ray's clothes, tickles her, and then sniffs his fingers. And another when Kong chews on a screaming native in close up. Pretty strong stuff for great grandma and grandpa back in the day. Take it away, Herb. Welcome to today's edition of the Anaglyph Jukebox. You never know what you'll find on the old jukebox. Let's press B31. Okay, we've got King Kong, 3D. Kong, King Kong. Created by director-producer Marion C. Cooper, his fascination with gorillas began at age 6 when his uncle gave him a book called Explorations and Adventures in Equatorial Africa. It chronicled a French adventurer's encounter with natives and wildlife, including a story about a particular gorilla known for its, quote, extraordinary size, one that the natives described as, quote, invincible, and, quote, the king of the African forest. When designing King Kong, Cooper wanted him to be a nightmarish gorilla monster. As he described Kong in a 1930 memo, quote, his hands and feet have the size and strength of steam shovels. His girth is that of a steam boiler. This is a monster with the strength of 100 men. But more terrifying is the head, a nightmare head with bloodshot eyes and jagged teeth, set under a thick mat of hair, a face half beast and half human. While Cooper envisioned Kong as being 40 to 50 feet tall, animator Willis O'Brien and his crew built the models and sets, scaling Kong to be only 18 feet tall on Skull Island and rescaled him to be 24 feet tall in New York City. This did not stop Cooper from playing around with Kong's size as he directed the special effects sequences. By manipulating the sizes of the miniatures and the camera angles, he made Kong appear a lot larger than O'Brien wanted, even as large as 60 feet in some scenes. Quote, I was a great believer in constantly changing Kong's height to fit the settings and the illusions. This broke every rule that O'Brien and his animators had ever worked with, but I felt confident that if the scenes moved with excitement and beauty, the audience would accept any height that fitted into the scene. For example, if Kong had only been 18 feet high on top of the Empire State Building, he would have been lost like a little bug. I constantly juggled the heights of trees and dozens of other things. Produced early in the sound era, this 1933 film has a thematic score instead of simply background music. A 46-piece orchestra was used and 3-track recording for the very first time. One for the music, one for the dialogue, and one for the sound effects. Son of Kong was in theaters in December 1933, just 9 months after King Kong's debut. Since 1962, Kong has regularly returned to the big screen. He is, in the Jukebox's opinion, the ultimate tall, dark, and handsome Hollywood leading man.
thank you again, Joe. Okay, we'll head off now to our guests for the week. We're starting a little bit early. That's good. We'll have a long time to ask them some questions. Now, today's guests are Kermit Shao. He's the CEO of CubeVi,
CubeVi.
and
Sorry,
CubeVi, right? CubeVi. Okay, I think
CubeVi.
it's yeah, V. CubeVi. Got it. Perfect.
Yeah,
Well,
correct.
just keep drilling it in. I got it. And um and Keaton, director of creative content. Now, Kermit is an entrepreneur. I'm going to introduce you the right way. Kermit is an entrepreneur who has founded and scaled multiple companies and is the co-founder of CubeVi with an I, right?
Correct this time.
uh, now, Key focused on merging technology, display technology, on merging 3D display technology with storytelling. The combination, you can't go wrong with that combination. Now, they are doing some magical things with spatial display hardware and software. Welcome, Key and Kermit. So I got you first up, Kermit. I made a small list of questions. I want to go back a little bit because I looked at the website and it's very sparse, but these are beautiful things. It's like Trump. Developed and patented spatial capture algorithm. Now, was that with CubeVi, or is this another company that was
Uh,
done with?
it was with CubeVi. Hi, Johnny. Hi, everyone. So glad to be here. Yeah. And the journey went on from the very beginning with 3D reconstruction. And because the first time I was wearing a glass was a HoloLens. And then I found that the content creation tools is so limited and the ecosystem was not mature. So the first idea is how to compensate this field with a 3D reconstruction to shoot the real scene, real person. Yeah. So from 2020, we found the baseline of technology radiation field. So we began the journey using multiple camera rig to record the real scene. Yeah, and we found that consumers um, from the Comic Con they were fascinated by the generation, and we gave the free chances for them to do the shooting for free, and they like it. Yeah, but afterwards, without a good hardware representation and also the slowdown of XR, there's no interface to present it. Yeah, and then they began to think about besides except for content creation tool, we can introduce the hardware to present it and make it a closed loop. Yeah.
I'm going to go back a little. I'm going to get both of you and Key on this. But the first one, I'd like to use Kermit. When did you first get involved with 3D? What was your first motivation to get involved with it?
That was 2010 when I first saw the Cameron's Avatar, of course, and that was a shot, and everybody liked it. But after the years, the industry jump and then slow down, jump and then slow down. Yeah, many circles.
Right. Did you ever shoot with a camera? Just a regular 3D camera? Have you ever shot with a
Yeah, I do have many of them in order to investigate the magic. But it's interesting that the scale of the lenses separated is so different when you put the content onto different interface. For example, when it comes to the cinema, people are so small comparing to the giant screen. So the shooting devices, the separation of the lens is could be very similar to your eye separation. Yeah, but when it comes to the 3D monitor, spatial monitor, because comparing to the screen, people are larger. So the shooting tool should be have much larger separation of the lens. But for this tool, there hasn't been any devices in the industry yet. So this subtle difference is very interesting.
Interesting. How about you, Key? How'd you get involved in 3D?
So actually, the first experience is with Nintendo 3DS. I assume it's a little bit younger computer guys over here. When I was like back in I think middle school, I have like friends playing Nintendo 3DS and in school. Unfortunately, I don't have that because my parents doesn't want me to get a gaming machine. They want me to focus on my studies. But the very interesting thing about 3DS is it's a 3D is one of its features, but it's also like a machine where you can play with your friends. So a lot of people over there they're playing 3DS, I think like together. I have like a couple of classmates playing 3DS together. So it's uh it's have multiple features, like I said. But I remember when I first got onto the machine, like there's a switch in the 3DS, right? You can like switch on and off the 3D effects. I was looking at it, I was like, wow, it's pretty cool. But I was majority envy my friends because they could play together rather than the 3D effects because all of them like have this kind of like machines and I don't have them. So that's my first experience.
Did you ever have a 3D camera? Did you ever get a 3D camera?
No, unfortunately not.
No, that's okay. So really, you're all about spatial, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where we're going, man. It's a new world. Fascinating. And by the way, I did this. I did the same thing your parents did to you, to my boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I wouldn't let them have it. This is what I used to tell them, and they hated this. I said, forget about playing Nintendo. Play Pretendo. Like, go out and play Pretendo. But that went over well. To this day, I'm sure they're unhappy about that. But yeah, that's fascinating. So you really don't have experience with a side by side or any of that kind of stuff, or
No, I
shooting
do
out.
have because for me, it's more about the VR that's actually taken me into the spatial kind of like experience. Because when I actually, graduate from college and start, have some income, that's already after Oculus come out, and that's when I first kind of get experience with the entire spatial kind of world. That's definitely like fascinating, especially even before the VR thing. Like, it's like pretty. It's the Google Cardboards, right? So you put the phones on the cardboard. It's not like spatial per se because it's like flat, but you can. It's first time you kind of experience the immersive world of the digital world where you can like turn your head around and you see like stuff are happening over there. And that's totally different experience compared to like just watching the stuff on your computer screen directly. And then there's the 3D movies coming out, and I experienced the most of the blockbusters, the Transformers, the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the theaters, and that's definitely for me getting more experience about the entire spatial and 3D world.
I guess this will go to Kermit. So now, as Apple and at least folks are involved heavily into spatial because there's a lot of breakthroughs happening right now with not only them, but that's kind of where the race is at. Did that inspire you more to move into the direction you're headed because Apple's there, or it made no difference?
Um, Vision Pro inspired me a lot. And I think what Apple wants to do is not only provide a VR gaming console, but provide the next generation of spatial computer. And yes, it's a good approach. But I think the form factor is not correct because it still put burden, physical constraint onto our heads. So is there any possibility that we follow the mainstream monitor where we are physically free and we can still use mouse and keypad and a monitor, so we won't fight against the earlier user habits. Yeah, so this is my point, and that's why after the 3D reconstruction for real scene we began the journey of a spatial monitor. Yeah, and regarding there are two schools of the technology. One is multi-viewpoint, where which one Looking Glass is providing, and the other one is layer category, Acer, Samsung for the gaming monitors, 3D gaming monitors. And these two schools, they both have weaknesses and benefits, and which they are um, um, counterpart with each other because clarity and also the multi-view, very stable scene, very absolutely well presented world, the stability. Yeah, they all benefit. But our idea is how to combine these two to be in one device and provide a perfectly stable present world and for gaming. Yeah. So Vision Pro provides a good example in terms of clarity and spatial interaction, which is a two-way using your gazing, your hand gesture, but still the form factor is not so user-friendly. Yeah, this is my point.
Right. I was going to get to that user-friendly part. And just briefly, what is in a moment we're going to show the product and we can drill deeper in. But what is Cube Stage? What is that?
Um, we are providing similar models like Looking Glass, but it was 1 year ago. And from that time, we different us from Looking Glass by 3 points. The first one is the user scenario we are facing is the gamers, PC gamers, because we want purposed a scenario for the immersion rather than it's only a toy, only a photo frame. And second is the Cube Stage because it will be a developer community. So we want it to be app store running on your PC or Windows, and introduce developers to join the game. And third, we are providing the because we are focusing on gaming, so we want it to be more entertaining. So dynamic interaction is our focus. So that's why we have to connect the device to the computer to in order to use graphic cards to make good use of the rendering capability to make it. So Cube Stage basically worked as the bridge between the technology and also developer community and to facilitate all the things.
I'm glad you brought up Looking Glass. So I can get both your opinions on this, not just one. What do you see as a differentiator between your product and is it a different market you're looking at? Is it a different technology, or what is the difference?
I can get in on that one. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah. So I think the main difference for Looking Glass and us in terms of the customers we're doing right now, if you're familiar with Looking Glass, they are actually more towards business right now. So B2B, basically. They've given up the consumer market. Like, I'm not saying entirely, but you can see from their losing campaigns and their marketing, they're not focusing on consumers right now. I believe there are several reasons. Just in comparison, we are more towards consumers. We are less towards businesses, B2B. In fact, we are currently mostly focused on consumers right now. That's the biggest difference. Now, the difference behind you have a question, Johnny? Sorry.
No, please go ahead. No problem at all. Continue.
Okay,
please.
gotcha. Yeah. So in terms of the technology, the reason why we are more confident in doing consumers right now is because the technology we're using. I think Kermit just also mentioned there are like two kinds of majority for autostereoscopic, which is like 3D without glasses or variables, whatnot. There are two major kind of like technologies, right? There's the light field displays, and there's the eye tracking display. Looking Glass specifically focuses on light field display, which I think they've done a pretty great job. It's spent like 10 years, researching and developing that. But ultimately, the outcome of the light field display is pretty much limited. Like you can only do like show a photo, a very simple video animation. You can't play games, you can't play like long forms. It's really hard and pretty like resource consuming to render the assets and produce the assets for this type of display. And that's like light field, right? Now we have like also like eye tracking displays. We've done light field before, but right now for our next product, we focuses on the eye tracking display. For eye tracking, like imagine like, because you guys are familiar, right? Like for light field, you have to run like 60 views at the same time. So imagine one frame, 60 images. But for the eye tracking ones, I'm only doing like SPS side by side, right? So it's basically 2 images for 1 frame. It's way less resource consuming, not only for the graphics card, but also for whatever things that you're producing, like producing the image, producing the video. You can shoot a 3D SPS video using a 3D camera and play it on a eye tracking display, but you cannot play that on a light field display. So with our product, we are able to play whatever 3D movies you want, and you also can play games and whatnot. It's just basically more user friendly compared to a light field display.
Is that where Cube Stage comes in? Or am I understanding this correctly, or that's
Cube Stage is a platform for our hardware. So it's just like App Store to Apple. It's basically like a platform we have, so you can download
Now I
our
understand.
software and stuff. Yeah,
I got it. That's what the point of the stage, right? Cube
Yep.
Stage. So that's
Yeah.
got it. Now I understand it. Sorry. Okay, content. Well, I got to ask you this before. We're going to show it in a minute. But this last question. The world's first, I got this off your website, the world's first affordable home spatial calling device. Now, how do you, intend to make that work? I'm just curious about that. And maybe describe it. You could describe it, Kermit. Because I got it off the, yeah. It says affordable home spatial calling device. I'm still trying to figure out how that works.
They were thinking about what is the most attractive use case for holographic. Of course, we can render the static scene, we can render a person, and we can render it dynamically. But at the top of the pyramid, it will be a bidirectional real-time rendering of two persons, make the telepresence to be true. And we are co-developing this holographic video call functionality with NVIDIA. And as you know, Google just announced they have launched Google Beam, which is a telepresence solution. And we are following NVIDIA roadmap of this technology. And we have get ready the hardware for the potential application holographic video call functionality. And for the next P1, it will be
You're breaking up a little bit. Your mic is breaking up a little. I'm hearing you a little off. But go ahead. You can repeat what you just said. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the holographic video call is not ready, but hardware-wise, we are ready. But I don't think there's a much difference between ours and the one from Acer and the Samsung Odyssey 3D. But what we are providing technically, there's a big difference between the multi-viewpoint from Looking Glass and the two viewpoints from Leia and Samsung Acer. We invented the first multi-viewpoint with a narrow angle, which combines eye tracking and multi-viewpoint, modifying from a wide angle to a narrow angle to make it a new combination. So it can realize simultaneously the stability of the scene and also better clarity in terms of resolution for each of the eye. So we have it in US, and I think it will make the difference in terms of holographic video call application in the future.
So we're going to show we'll show the one that is now available, the C1, as in C as in Charlie 1, right? Herb, could you just run a video one, please? So that's the back of the gadget, right? Oh, the C1. Let me see. I'm not even gonna call it gadget. The C1, right?
Yes.
C1 is like a companion. C refers to companion because we want to provide a model for the gamers where their PC gaming desktop setup, and this one could be the decoration, could be the toy. And we also provide applications like AI character, which is a talking avatar to interact with you. That's part of the evidence that we want to make it a more entertaining, more dynamic, more gamer oriented.
Now, is that an accurate physical representation of what the C1 looks like? In other words, the back. I don't see any connections or anything on that. Was that done from the bottom? Could you run one again, please, Herb? I just want to.
The same one again?
Yeah, number one, please. Yeah. And just hold it up there for a few minutes. I want to discuss something with him.
There should be also some GIFs like on C1 in the in the kit
Okay,
as well.
so yeah, freeze it at that. You know, we grab it if you can. Yep, yeah, that's good. That's perfect. I feel like I'm grabbing it at this point. So how does this connect to anything? I mean, how do you connect it?
Oh, there's like two wires coming from the bottom. So there's an HDMI and a Type C.
Oh, gotcha.
Goes to
On
a
that.
laptop. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think 2 gives us a good idea. Could you run video 2 when you have it? Yeah. Because then we can all get a better idea what it really looks like in the world, right? Now, does that stand do anything? The
That
wiring.
stand is what you will be getting when you purchase the C1. But that's still the it's like a cool animation with it to showcase what you'll be looking, because you guys know the trick. It's pretty hard to film the 3D effect directly in real life. So we made some cool animations to showcase the effect. But since it's a live field display, we still can shoot some 3D effects. So if you go to the several GIFs we have over there, you can see some of them C1 per like working in real time.
So it sits like that,
Yes.
right? So it sits on a. You know what, Herb? I'm sorry. Just leave it up a little bit longer because I just want to. My mistake. I should have told you to hold it up there. So the theory is the way. Yeah, leave it like that. That's perfect. Don't even have to run it. So obviously the piece of the pedestal underneath is just for theatrical purposes, right? The actual piece is that what the piece on the mount with the clevis there, right? From there up
Exactly.
is what. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Now again, it doesn't show any more. Is it? It has to be attached to a computer, no, or does it?
It does. It has to be connected to a computer.
And it's connected via those wires you said that I don't see, right?
Yes. If you can switch to a different GIF that I have in the package, you'll be able to see the wires down there.
Ah, yeah, I saw that. Unfortunately, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. You could stop sharing right now. Let me see if I can find that.
I can share it. I have some pictures there from the website.
Oh, I thank you. That's a good idea. Less I have to press buttons, the better everybody is. You could share that, yeah. And again, it's just a moment. There's the bundle. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
USB to C and the HDMI cable.
And one reminder, you have to connect it to a standalone graphic card, because the integrated graphic cards doesn't work well with it, because the vertical resolution is about 2K. So Intel integrated graphic cards doesn't support it.
Interesting. Wow. Okay, so how? Okay. And now, from what I saw on the website, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Only a PC right now. No. Does it work with an Apple computer?
Unfortunately, it does not right now.
Okay. I thought I read that there. So, and I get there's a lot of Androids out there, so there's that. A lot of PCs out there, so there's that. Now, so this is available now, though, and you know what? Why don't you give a price, because there are people out there that have money to spend. What is the price on that piece right now?
I was starting at $149, as you can see on the website we're having right now, and yeah,
Excellent.
that's the price.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, Dorothy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we define this model to be a previewing version of the photographic, and we want it to be low cost and to provide a chance to have earlier taste of it for everyday users.
Now let's go. Let's take a little step into the future. I have a few more questions, but we can hold on those because I want to go to the next one, Herb, if you could run that one and leave it up until I answer this job. Thank you, Herb. So this is the next generation.
It is.
And it's in prototype stage right now, right? Right?
Yes.
It's almost finalized. In 1 month. In 1 month, it will be launched on Kickstarter.
And the major difference is this is landscape, right? And it's much bigger.
It's
Well,
modern the difference between the form factor. They are using two category of technology. The earlier one for companion one, it's multi-viewpoint without eye tracking, and for this one, in order to improve the clarity, we are using eye tracking. And with our idea, in terms of a technical roadmap, we want to cover different school of the technology, and then we will combine them to be a new one. And we want to category we want to create a new subcategory like a holographic display. So 3D display is different from a holographic display. We want to provide the scene geometry, provide the motion parallax between the foreground and background, and make the world presented to be a absolutely stable one. So for this model, we want to showcase our technology on eye tracking category.
Harp, can you let that loop? Just let it loop, please. Okay, so the connections are off on the left-hand side there, right?
Yeah.
And so you would use this. I can move over. Move over to Kai.
Yep.
So this is really the concept would be a second monitor on this, right? Or while you were gaming or doing something, right? Because would you call it your primary monitor? No, right?
It actually depends on how you use it. When this is actually designed to be a 3D gaming monitor, it's not as big. It's 15.6 because it's still earlier stage. But to get a experience of the 3D gaming, you can actually use that. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Steam, but on Steam there are like a bunch of games, and if your game is produced in gaming engines like major ones like Unity or Unreal Engine, it can be easily converted into the 3D games and can run on P1 with no problem. So by definition, this display is supposed to be a 3D monitor for gaming, similar to 3DS, but like 3DS is basically a console, not a monitor. We only provide the monitor over here.
Do me a favor, walk me through. So I get one of these, I take the box out. It's probably got all that fancy stuff. So I have to disrobe the device, right? There's all these different levels of. Now I take it. Now, how do I hook it up? What do I do? Do I need your software? Do I plug? What do I do? How do I?
The setting up a process actually pretty much easy. You just get the wires connected. It's the same. It's gonna be a Type C over here and HDMI over there. Connect that to your PC. On the other side, it'll be a USB actually. Just connect them wires together, and then you'll prompt to be download a software, which is actually Cube Staged, exactly the same software you asked before, and then that's it. So for gaming, like let's say two things, right? So the majority of the functions will be either gaming or watching videos. So for videos, as long as you have like SBS videos, I assume you guys have plenty of SBS videos out there. We have a player integrated into this the Cube Stage software. You can just play it directly, and that's it. For gamings, you just have to download the game that's supported, because unfortunately we can't support all of the games out there. But as long as it's supported, you can launch that game directly on our platform because we detect those games automatically if it's already in your computer. And then if you launch them on our platform, it'll be there. You still buy the games on Steam. We don't process the financials over here because it's gonna be too much for like a startup for us. But it'll be simple. You buy the game on Steam. You download the game. You start the game through our platform, and that's it. You can play the game in 3D. That's the two basic functions.
And there's a way to go from 2D to 3D, right? What if you just didn't want to use 3D? You don't have to always have it in that 3D mode, right?
Yes. It depends on what exactly do you mean by 2D to 3D. Are you saying you want to turn like videos and stuff into 3D?
Oh, no. What I'm trying to say is, sometimes you don't need it you don't need the spatial requirement. You just
Oh,
want a
yes.
2D screen because that's what you're doing. You're doing
Yes.
something cool. Yeah, okay.
So the resolution of the display under 2D mode is actually 4K. So you can actually use it as a secondary screen to place it next to your main screen and then just do work on it, open up your docs and stuff. It will still be in 2D, mind you, but not being 3D. But you can still use it as a secondary display. The screen will only enter the 3D mode when it detects that something is 3D is happening over there. And that means your games, your SPS videos, which is pretty much like when it detects those, they'll be in 3D basically.
In order to make it clear, the 2D effect, 2D experience, is sacrificed by the light field, and it's different from the one from Acer and Samsung, because they are using 2D, 3D switchable liquid light film. We are not using it, and we want to avoid patterns confliction. And our idea is for this one is typically for 3D gaming or SPS video watching, rather than to be good enough to the monitor. Yeah.
So okay, great answer. Thank you. Now, in terms of stereo content, side-by-side content, as you mentioned, do you have to do anything to the file and rename it anyway, or it's just it knows? And I'll add to that question if you can answer both. Can it handle different varieties, like an MPO, for instance? Can it do anything with that, or can you just drag that in and it works? Or do you have to do an intermediary process to make the display know what it's supposed to do?
Are you asking about the videos?
I'm asking about anything you're putting on it. That question was way too
Regarding
long. Let me try to be more
regarding
accurate.
the SPS format, we can play the local drive SPS, and we are not ready um, to provide the functionality converting ordinary 2D to 3D in our cloud yet, but we will add this pipeline and.
Kermit, I don't think maybe I didn't formulate the question properly. So if you do have an SBS, say you took you some pictures, like you took a picture with your 3D camera, and you have a side by side. Can I just drag that into it without, and it'll recognize that, or do I have to tamper with the file name or any of that kind of stuff? Is it?
Gotcha. There are two ways. You can play it locally, like drag and leave it. And also, we are providing a platform. You can upload the SPS video clip to the cloud, and you can watch it later, and you can share it with the other users. It's
Okay.
like online streaming.
Adding on to that, you don't have to do the naming convention stuff. It just automatically plays. As long as your videos are in the major video files, such as MP4, MOVs, it'll be fine.
Okay, so I gotcha. So but in terms of stills, I was not. Sorry, I was not clear with the question. If I took a picture, like a regular picture, like a still, not a video. The process to have that work is just to move it into the. How do you? In other words, it doesn't need any kind of a file manipulation, right? Just two images go in, and the monitor will figure that out by itself. Maybe you're not understanding what I'm saying. It seems rather simple to me. It ain't working.
Shouldn't be. You shouldn't do anything like the file conventions, because if we can do with the video, we can definitely do with the image. So you don't have to do, as long as it's just like a general JPG, PNG with the SPS format, it doesn't really matter. Just plug it in and it works. Yeah.
Like two big full in one file, left, right, full.
Oh,
size.
you have two files for the SPS?
Or two by just one. Well, sometimes you have the two, but
I see.
So you got one.
Those,
yeah.
We haven't implemented those functions right now, but it should be pretty simple. It's just like one simple feature you guys requested, we'll do it, because we can figure out the video, can definitely figure out the images. It's gonna be very easier.
Okay, so there's no other stuff you have to. I was pulling out a slide to try to explain it. Now it fell into the desk. Okay.
I think there are of two user scenarios. One is entertaining, watching the movie, watching the clips, and the other will be like a wallpaper, and you can do your job, you can play a game, and simultaneously the secondary screen will give you a vibe. The the wallpapers, the still is converted into 3D.
Okay. And
Yeah,
obviously,
and for the second one, the functionality is not ready, but it is in our roadmap.
but obviously it's one viewer, right? You wouldn't have multiple viewers because you have only one eye, one set of eyes get tracked on that, right? Just one viewer for that
Yeah,
display.
Yeah.
Okay.
for P1, yes.
It seemed obvious, but I just wanted to reiterate.
Sure.
Okay. I'm still a little unclear. Uh, so as far as you're concerned, so long as you, because there are a couple of formats on the side by side, right? They squish them, they don't. Regular size, landscape on one file, pops into that it looks at that and goes, this has got to be 3D, and it displays it. Am I following that? Is that the process? And is it that simple? Is it that simple?
We haven't tried all the categories, all the formats of the SBS yet. But basically, it's a automatic pipeline, like you said, plug and play, and also
You
one
can stop the
problem.
video now. You can stop the video, Herb. Thank you. I'm
But
sorry for
there's
interrupting,
one
Kermit.
problem.
Please
But there's
go
one
ahead.
problem because the ordinary SBS video or still pictures are shot by the standard camera. The distance of the lens is similar to human distance, so it will not work perfectly on our screen. Because in VR, the scale is just right, but for the screen, people will become larger comparing to the small world. So it won't provide the best experience. The popping out effect is too much in this case.
You said that earlier, and I didn't put the two things together, but
Specifically.
now I get it. So, because really, it's intended primarily for gamers, right? There's a huge market out there for gamers. Right? I mean, that's the
Our
market.
philosophy is we need to some purpose use case to drive the real demand. And of course, the most hardcore content is PC gaming. It's even better than mobile gaming, which is a fast food. Yeah, with the reputation of the games, with the the the, the well rendered the scene, which are vivid, which are so attractive. I think this will be the main driver for the holographic interaction. And in our philosophy, it will not be the traditional mouse and keypad rule of play, but also the like VR. You are using controller, you are using your gazing or hand gesture to make the interaction more attractive. So basically, we want to set up a new standard of action. In one way, it is the very high clarity and very stability of the presented world. And second is the it's two-way interaction rather than just visual outputting. Yeah. Yeah,
So
because we want to provide exactly the same experience like VR, but without wearing anything or head.
okay, I don't want Kai to fall asleep, so I got to ask him a few questions too, Kermit.
Yeah, of course,
uh,
go ahead.
by now he's doing something. He's actually paying his bills. He's looking up to this. He's got a so we want to get you back. So how would you walk me through? I'm a gamer. I would hook. How would I use this? I get it in a box. I'm a gamer now. What do I do with that? Do I explain that process? Because I don't want to interfere.
Yeah,
You're a gamer now. What do you do? Right. You bought
yeah.
the thing. Now what do you do?
So it's actually the same process as I described before. You bought the device, you get it out of the box, you connect that to your PC, with the HDMI and the Type C to
Right.
USB thing.
Yep.
So the two wires are connecting up together. You download the CubeStage software, and then the software automatically scans what games you have in your computer. And if we find the supported games, it will tell you that it's supported, and you can start that game directly in our software. You have to start a game in our software though, because we have to, deploy the, automatically launch the code that turns the game into a 3D thing, and then that's it. You can play the games in 3D. That's it.
Do you have a list
Let
of
me jump in.
compatible? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. A technical mechanism behind is we enable the second viewpoint to the original viewpoint using UEVR. There's a Discord channel flat to VR. We are using similar technologies. Yeah, we just manipulate the monitor to be like a VR headset in order to have the OpenXR bridge to do its job. So we are supporting UE and Unity, and of course not all of the games are supported, but we have already adapted like dozens of AAA titles. And when you get P1 and from Thursday, there are plenty of them for you to play. And it's not a new magic because Acer and Samsung are using similar technologies, but we are more open. We will open to the developers who want their titles to be adapted, and we want to provide as much as possible the codes and our Discord community engagement. Yeah.
And two more questions, 2 follows up. Okay, follow-ups. Do you have a list of the compatible? How would someone know what games are compatible? Maybe they want to look at that before they buy it. Well, it's not available yet, so that's another issue, right? Because when do you? Let's answer the first question. When do you think it's available? The P1, P1.
For the hardware, it will be ready in November. And regarding the cube stage, because the index you mentioned could be displayed in this open stage channel, and you can find out which other games are supported. And we don't have additional channel to announce to the game availability yet, but we are going to do this job in our Discord channel later after the launch. We are still at a very early stage in terms of accumulation of the AAA titles, AA titles, indie studio games. But we emphasize on this track of the total supplies of the games available in the market on our CubeStage platform. Yeah, this is our main job, one of the main track in the future.
What is the most important game for you guys to be compatible with? You must have figured that out. It must be a marketing thing. What's the most important game to be compatible with? No.
I can actually answer that question. Are you asking about a specific game, or asking about the aspect that the game needs to be having in order to be compatible with our?
Hey, I'm supposed to be asking you questions. No, actually, what you would consider from a marketing standpoint the best game that in other words that you should be very compatible with, because you obviously the market's there for that one. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. So on the marketing standpoint, obviously the larger the players a game already have, the better, right?
Right.
But then so we're talking about like Overwatch, like Marvel Rivals, or like Valorant, these like very big like PvP multiplayer online games. Unfortunately, we cannot do the conversion for them because most of these really, really large unicorn games, they develop their own game engines.
Sure they do.
So they don't use like common or major game engines like Unreal Engine or Unity, right? You guys are familiar with that. We work best with games developed in Unity and Unreal Engine. And so because of that, we actually have more compatibility with these kinds of games. For example, the Black Myth Wukong, which comes out like this year, which is developed in Unreal Engine. Some other major AAA title games which are developed in Unreal Engine as well. Like those games, we are compatible with pretty well. That's on the marketing standpoint. I do want to add one point in terms of what games will become that we are aiming to get compatible with. It's because there are lots of different games out in the world, right? Not all of the games works perfectly on a 3D display. That basically saying that the 3D experience does not enhance to the overall result. I'll give you an example. If it's a poker game, why would you play in 3D? Or is it like a strategy game, right? Because the gaming experience is being delivered through the context or the gameplay of like the strategy, not necessarily the visual experience. So those games we won't consider. We would consider more games like Assassin's Creed or all these games have really nice visuals and like the visual storytelling is a very important aspect of the entire gameplay experience. That's something we're trying to aim for and we're trying to adapt to.
For
Makes great sense.
P1,
Go ahead.
it's not as good as a gaming monitor in terms of refreshing rate, and still P1 is a low cost and for the early adopters. And so, for example, first person shooting is not supported well on our device because the it's only 60 hertz refresh rate. So it's not perfect. It's not. We made a lot of trade-offs in order to make it available to the economic users. Yeah, and for C1 and P1, they are of phase one in CubeVi development. But for phase two, I guess it will be 18 months from now. It will be P2 or P3, which will be a perfect gaming monitor in the first place. And then the holographic effect and two-way interaction will be ready, very similar to VR effect running on a monitor. Yeah, this is our plan.
That sounds like a great one. I wish you guys all the luck. I wish I could see one of these, but I get the concept of how you're doing it, man. I applaud you for.
Let me explain more about P2 or
Please,
P3.
please.
It will be a large screen. It will be at least 55-inch curved display, and it has a good coverage in the forward angle, and the resolution is at least 10K. I guess it will be 12K. And in order, because the DisplayPort cable doesn't support this resolution, the real-time transmitting, so we have to use two DP cables. And we filed a new patent in US. It's spatial rendering coprocessor in order to handle with all these huge bandwidths and real-time viewpoint reordering running inside of the monitor. So in that case, the monitor will not be a passive component anymore, but active one. It's like the content format and also the rendering capability of this specific hardware, they join together to provide the final capability of rendering and also reduce the workload running on the graphic cards because we want the dynamic range really good. Right. The two main differences between our roadmap, our technology roadmap, and VR lies in two directions. The first one is the dynamic optical environment, because it's an open environment comparing to the VR, which is a fixed optical path. You have your antenna, your pupil, the lens and display is a fixed path, but in this scenario, it's an open one. And we want all the game can be played on that interface. So you will move your head very fast. Imagine a bullet coming out, and you want to dodge the bullet, and you tilt your head, and the bullet will run passes by, run past by, and you see visually the path is beside your head, right? So the spatial logic, the spatial Clurian relationships is very stable, very real. Yeah. So this is all about the dynamic range in terms of optical and the second is the resolution, because it's not only 3D display, we want it to be extremely clear when you look into the screen, even it's in by 1 meter or 2 meter, and still that world is is clear. So we need even more bandwidth comparing to the smaller screen for our VR, and even for Vision Pro 3K by 3K. But in our case, it will be at least 10K, for example. Yeah. So these 2 points gives us challenges to conquer all obstacles from industry, and we have to build the pipeline privately and using our own coprocessor to handle all the details in order to make it a whole picture.
So now when you're playing a game, it's going to take a little bit more of this. Obviously with the VR, it's very immersive. Let's call it that, right? And just by turning, you move. So, like a gamer, basically, you would have to use the controls on the computer, right, to make the moves. Either with the game or whatever. Okay.
Okay.
That seemed obvious, but I had to say it. Could you show us what you showed us before during rehearsal? Or if you can't show it, that's okay.
It's here.
The big one that had so many
Here's a larger
centimeters
screen.
or inches, I forgot what I completely confused. See, you said centimeters, and I lost my. How it was 100 inches? Just 50? What was it?
Yes.
If there's a problem and you can't show it, that's okay. I don't want to make you
Let me try.
get yourself in trouble.
You have to get rid of the background first.
You're right.
I'm sorry I sprung that on you, fellas.
No worries.
No problem. We are here in our Palo Alto office. It's basically a studio. We have different size of screens and even a holographic wall to demo the earlier models 2 years ago. Yeah. And for this one, it's a 100-inch portrait screen, and you can see the motion parallax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's a earlier demo because the final product we want to offer for the market is a gateway. Imagine all the walls are not blockers anymore. We will break the boundaries between spaces. We want spaces to be joined together to make it a unified one. And people can live under the same roof. And this is the vision we are aiming for.
The unified one. Okay, give me that again. So you mean more of these, like kind of like several of them, so you create dimensional images, almost like a house of mirrors or something like that. Is that what you? Because that was I getting from what you were saying? No, multiple ones to make it.
We want the entire wall to be a screen, to be a holographic gateway, and
I get that. I love it. Yes.
Yeah, we have different. We are in different corners in this world, and in the living room, I have this wall to be a holographic gateway, and for your living room, that wall will be in the same case. So the two spaces are rendered for each other, so it will be a unified, a whole space, which combine the two spaces, and it's like we are living under the same roof.
I was good. Okay.
But it's a long way to go there because the trade-off between multiple viewers and also the clarity of the screen, it cannot be solved at this stage. So our first approach is still for PC users because it's private use. Yeah. So the clarity is the first thing. People won't buy a 3D without as clear as 2D experience.
Well, you have answered a lot of questions, and I'm sure I'm confident people also have questions in the after party. And I told you I'll get you out of here by 4:30. You are phenomenal. Thank you so much for sharing so much information. It's an interesting time, right? As we said, because with the spatial stuff, the fact that Kai never took 3D pictures and he's only a spatial guy, he's a special guy. He's a special guy. Fascinating to me that you don't have that background, but you got this new world background, which I love that. I absolutely, you don't need the baggage. Let me put it that way. Inevitably, you're going to go shoot something with two. I can guarantee it. But you're going to go, oh, this is cool, but oh, wow, this is how they used to do it. Inevitably, you're going to. But God bless you for not doing it, because that kind of messes up your thinking. So you're far better off doing what you're doing. If you stick around a few minutes, again, I want to thank you very much for being our guest and spending all the time that you have with us. I can ask you 1,000 more questions, but I will at another point.